Behind your back, your sister committed a horrible act. They were assisted with her by a family member. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm diving into something deeply personal, something that shook my world and changed how I see trust, family, and my own strength. Behind my back, my sister committed a horrible act. She wasn't alone, she was assisted by a family member, someone I thought would always stand by me. This isn't just a story about betrayal, it's about how the truth came to light, how it broke me open, and how it helped me rebuild stronger than ever. If you've ever felt blindsided by someone you love, grab a cozy spot, maybe a cup of tea, and let's walk through this together. It's a long one, but I promise it's worth it. Let's get into it. It started with a feeling. You know that quiet nudge in your gut when something just doesn't feel right? Like the air's a little heavier, or conversations don't flow the way they used to. For weeks, maybe even months, I couldn't shake it. I'd walk into a room, and my sister would flash a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. Her laugh felt forced, like she was playing a part. The family member, let's call them Alex, was just as off. They'd ask about my day, crack a joke, act like everything was fine, but there was this tension, this invisible weight in every moment. I kept telling myself I was imagining it. These were my people, my family, the ones I'd shared my life with, birthdays, holidays, late-night talks. How could anything be wrong? But something was wrong. My sister had done something terrible, something planned and deliberate, something that wasn't just a mistake but a choice. And Alex was right there with her, helping her pull it off, step by careful step. They moved in secret, thinking I'd never find out, thinking they could keep me in the dark forever. It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing, not a heat-of-the-moment decision. It was a plan, built over time, with meetings I wasn't invited to, phone calls I never heard, papers I never saw. They were so careful, so strategic, weaving a web around me while I went about my life, trusting them. Betrayal doesn't come with a warning sign. It hides in the everyday moments, the ones you don't think twice about. My sister would sit across from me at family dinners, asking about my job, my plans, acting like she cared, while carrying this secret that would have crushed me. Alex was just as smooth, always there with a kind word, a quick hug, playing the role of my biggest supporter. I'd tell them about my dreams, my struggles, and they'd nod, smile, say all the right things. But behind those smiles, they were plotting. They'd have quiet talks when I wasn't around, make decisions about things that were mine, my future, my security, my peace. They thought I was too trusting, too busy, too distracted to notice. And for a while, they were right. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a family gathering, laughter, music, plates of food passed around. I'm there, joking with cousins, helping in the kitchen, feeling like everything's okay. But then I'd catch a moment, a glance between my sister and Alex, a quick look that said more than words could. I'd brush it off, tell myself it was nothing. But it wasn't nothing. Those glances were pieces of a puzzle I didn't even know I was supposed to solve. They were signals of a plan they'd been working on for months, maybe longer. A plan to take something from me, something I'd worked hard for, something that was mine by right. It started small, so small I didn't notice at first. A meeting I wasn't told about, held in someone's living room while I was out of town. A phone call I never heard, made late at night when they knew I wouldn't pick up. Papers I never saw, signed with my name mentioned in ways I never agreed to. Every move was calculated to keep me clueless. They'd smile to my face, act like everything was normal, but behind closed doors, their conversations were sharp, driven by something I couldn't yet understand. Was it greed? Jealousy? Resentment? Maybe a mix of all three. Whatever it was enough for them to betray the trust we'd built over years. I started noticing little things that didn't add up. My sister would change the subject when I asked about certain plans or decisions. Her voice would get just a little too bright, like she was trying to distract me. Alex would avoid my eyes, busying themselves with something else when I pressed for details. There was a moment at a family event when I walked in, and their conversation stopped, like the air had been sucked out of the room. I told myself they were just catching up, but that uneasy feeling in my gut was growing louder. It was like an alarm I couldn't turn off, telling me something was wrong, even if I couldn't name it yet. I'd lie awake at night, replaying moments, wondering why things felt so off. Was I being paranoid? Was I imagining the tension? I tried to convince myself I was, but my heart knew better. It's funny how your body knows things before your mind catches up. That restlessness, that heavy feeling, it was my spirit trying to warn me. I started paying closer attention, watching their reactions, listening to what they didn't say. And slowly, the truth started to slip out, like water through a cracked wall. It wasn't one big moment, it was a series of small ones. I'd overhear a comment that didn't make sense, something about a decision I wasn't part of. I'd find a message that wasn't meant for me, vague but enough to raise a red flag. I started asking questions, simple ones, but their answers were too quick, too polished, like they'd practiced them. My sister would laugh off my concerns, say I was overthinking things. Alex would change the subject, ask about something else, anything to steer me away. But those cracks in their story were getting bigger, and the truth was starting to show. Then it hit me. I found something, let's say it was a document, something that laid it all bare. My sister's name was there, tied to something she had no right to touch. Alex's name was right beside hers, proof they'd been in it together. It wasn't a mistake or a misunderstanding. It was a choice, a deliberate act, planned and executed behind my back. They'd taken something from me, maybe it was money, maybe it was an opportunity, maybe it was something deeper, like my trust, and they'd done it for their own gain, not caring what it would cost me. That moment was like the world stopped. You know that feeling when the ground drops out from under you? Your heart feels heavy, your mind races, trying to make sense of it. I sat with that for days, maybe weeks, replaying every moment, every conversation. How could they do this? Why would they? The answer wasn't love or loyalty, it was selfishness, maybe even jealousy. They wanted something they thought I had, and they were willing to hurt me to get it. I could have let it break me. I could have let the pain swallow me whole. But something inside me said, "You're stronger than this." So I didn't confront them right away. I didn't scream or fight. I stayed quiet, and I started piecing things together. I found more proof, messages they didn't know I'd seen, records they thought were hidden, conversations overheard by someone who cared enough to tell me. Every piece was like a light turning on, showing me the truth they'd tried to bury. They'd been so careful, but they weren't perfect. They left cracks, and the truth was seeping through, brighter and stronger than their lies. As I gathered more evidence, I started to see the full picture. Their plan wasn't just about taking something from me, it was about rewriting my life without me knowing. They made choices about things that were mine, things I'd worked for, things that mattered. They thought they could keep it hidden forever, that I'd stay blind while they built their own world on the pieces of mine. But the truth doesn't stay buried. It finds a way out, and when it does, it's not quiet. It's like a storm breaking open the sky, clearing away everything that's false. The truth came to me in waves. A friend overheard something and came to me, their voice low, their words careful but clear. Another family member noticed something off and started asking questions, not to me but to others, and those questions rippled. People started to see through my sister and Alex's smiles, their carefully rehearsed answers. Conversations would pause when they walked in, not because I said anything, but because others were starting to sense it too. The air around them got heavier, like their secrets were weighing them down, making it harder for them to keep up the act. I didn't have to chase the truth, it came to me. And with it came clarity. I could see everything, their late-night talks, their whispered plans, their lies. I could see how they'd looked me in the eye and smiled while plotting against me. I could see how they'd used my trust against me, thinking I'd never catch on. And I could see something else, too, my own strength. Even in the middle of that pain, I knew I wasn't going to let this define me. I wasn't going to let their choices take away my peace. The hardest part wasn't finding out what they did. It was deciding what to do next. Part of me wanted to confront them, to demand answers, to make them feel the hurt they'd caused. I imagined storming into a room, laying out every piece of evidence, watching their faces as they realized I knew. But another part of me, the stronger part, said, "Wait. Be still. Let the truth do the work." So I did. I stayed calm, and I kept gathering what I needed: proof, perspective, and people who were truly on my side. It wasn't easy. There were nights when I couldn't sleep, when the weight of it all felt too much. I'd replay every moment, wondering how I missed it, wondering what I could have done differently. I'd think about the family dinners, the holidays, the moments I thought we were all in it together. How could they sit there, laughing with me, knowing what they were doing? How could they look me in the eye and lie? Those questions kept me up, circling in my mind like a storm I couldn't escape. But slowly, I started to see that this wasn't about me failing. It was about them choosing. They chose to cross a line. They chose to break what we had. And I wasn't going to carry their choices as my shame. I started to let go of the guilt, the what-ifs, the should-haves. I started to focus on what I could control: my response, my boundaries, my future. I wasn't going to let their betrayal define who I was or what I could become. As the truth came out, things started to change. People looked at my sister and Alex differently. Their smiles didn't land the same way anymore. Conversations got shorter, glances got sharper. They tried to keep up the act, but it was slipping. A friend came forward with a detail that confirmed everything, a conversation they'd overheard, a piece of evidence they couldn't ignore. Another family member started asking questions they couldn't answer, not directly to me but in ways that rippled through our circle. Their story was unraveling, and they couldn't stop it. I didn't have to say much. The evidence spoke for itself. People saw what they'd done, and they saw me, still standing, still moving forward. I wasn't the one carrying shame, they were. They'd thought they could take from me and walk away clean, but lies don't hold. They crumble under the weight of truth, and that's exactly what happened. The air around them got heavier, their laughter quieter, their presence less welcome. It wasn't me pushing people away from them, it was their own actions catching up. As their world started to shift, I started rebuilding mine. I set boundaries, not out of anger, but out of love for myself. I stopped letting their choices define my worth. I surrounded myself with people who showed me what loyalty really means: quiet, steady, real. People who didn't just say the right things but showed up, again and again, with honesty and care. I found new paths, new opportunities, things I wouldn't have seen if I'd stayed stuck in their storm. Every step felt lighter, like I was leaving their weight behind. Let me tell you about one moment that stuck with me. It was a family gathering, months after I'd started piecing things together. I walked into the room, and my sister and Alex were there, talking in low voices. When they saw me, they stopped, their faces shifting into those practiced smiles. But this time, I saw it for what it was, a mask. I didn't call them out. I didn't need to. I just nodded, said hi, and kept moving. In that moment, I felt something shift inside me. I wasn't afraid of them anymore. I wasn't hurt by them anymore. I was free. There was another moment, too, when the truth came out in a bigger way. Someone, a cousin, let's say, came to me with a piece of evidence I hadn't expected. It was a message, something my sister had sent to Alex, thinking it was private. It laid out their plan in clear words, no room for misinterpretation. When I read it, my heart raced, not with anger but with clarity. This was it, the undeniable proof I'd been waiting for. I didn't confront them with it. I didn't need to. I knew the truth, and that was enough. From there, the unraveling happened fast. People started talking, not just to me but to each other. The whispers weren't about me anymore, they were about my sister and Alex. Their stories didn't add up, and people noticed. A friend pulled me aside, said they'd heard something that didn't sit right. A family member asked me if I was okay, their voice soft, like they knew more than they were saying. The truth was spreading, not because I pushed it, but because it was too heavy to stay hidden. My sister and Alex started to feel it. You could see it in the way they moved, less confident, more guarded. They'd try to steer conversations away from certain topics, but it wasn't working. People were asking questions, noticing inconsistencies, sensing the weight of their secrets. They'd walk into a room, and the energy would shift, not because I said anything, but because the truth was doing its work. It was like a shadow following them, one they couldn't shake. I didn't have to do much. The evidence was enough. A document here, a message there, a conversation overheard by the right person. It all added up, painting a picture so clear no one could deny it. My sister and Alex had betrayed me, not just in a small way but in a way that cut deep, that changed how I saw family, trust, everything. But it also changed how I saw myself. I was stronger than I'd thought. I could stand in the middle of that pain and not let it break me. As their world started to crumble, I started building mine. I focused on what I could control, my peace, my choices, my future. I stopped letting their actions define me. I started saying no to things that didn't feel right, setting boundaries that protected my heart. I leaned on the people who showed up for me, the ones who didn't need me to explain or prove anything. They just knew, and they stayed. I found new opportunities, too. Things I'd put on hold because I was too caught up in the drama started to open up again. A job opportunity I'd almost forgotten about came back around. A friend invited me to try something new, something I'd never considered before. Little by little, my life started to feel like mine again. I wasn't just surviving their betrayal, I was thriving beyond it. There was a moment when I looked at my sister and Alex and felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, just a calm certainty that I didn't need them to be whole. I didn't need their apologies or their explanations. I had the truth, and that was enough. They didn't expect that. They thought I'd crumble, that I'd beg for answers or try to fix what they broke. But I didn't. I stood tall, and I moved forward. Let me share a story within this story. A few months after I found out, I was at a coffee shop, just trying to clear my head. I was sitting by the window, watching people walk by, when I saw my sister across the street. She didn't see me, but I saw her, her shoulders slumped, her eyes darting like she was waiting for something to go wrong. For the first time, I didn't feel hurt or angry. I felt sorry for her. Not because she deserved my pity, but because she was carrying the weight of what she'd done, and it was heavy. I realized then that I was free, and she wasn't. Alex was different. They tried to keep up the act longer, smiling, joking, acting like nothing had changed. But people saw through it. I'd hear from friends about things Alex said, stories that didn't add up, excuses that fell apart. They were trying to hold on to their image, but it was slipping. And the more they tried to cover it up, the more obvious it became. The truth was out, and no amount of charm could hide it. My sister and Alex are still out there, carrying the weight of what they did. They feel it in the way people pull back, in the silence that follows their names. They thought they could rewrite my story, but they were wrong. My story is mine, and I'm writing it now, stronger, clearer, free. They'll carry their choices like a shadow, no matter how hard they try to outrun it. People see them differently now, not because I told them to, but because the truth has a way of changing how the world works. If you're watching this and you've been betrayed, I want you to know you're not alone. The truth might hurt, but it's also your power. It shows you who you are, what you're capable of. It shows you that you can rise, no matter what they tried to take. Trust that feeling in your gut. It's there for a reason. It's your guide, your warning, your strength. Trust the people who show up for you, the ones who don't need you to prove your worth. And most of all, trust yourself to keep going, one step at a time. This journey taught me something I'll carry forever: my peace, my strength, my future, they're mine. No one can take them away, no matter how hard they try. And the same is true for you. You're stronger than the lies, bigger than the plans made against you. The truth will find you, and when it does, it'll set you free, not to fight or to hate, but to build, to grow, to live a life that's yours. Let me take a moment to reflect on what this all means. Betrayal isn't just about what someone does to you, it's about what it teaches you. It's about learning to listen to yourself, to value your own voice, to protect your own heart. For me, it was like a fire that burned away everything that wasn't real. It left me with clarity, with a sense of who I am and what I'm capable of. It showed me that I don't need everyone's approval to be whole. I just need my own. I think about the moments that came after the truth came out. The quiet mornings when I'd wake up and feel a little lighter, like the weight of their betrayal was finally lifting. The conversations with friends who didn't need me to explain, who just sat with me and listened. The new opportunities that started to appear, like doors opening after a long time closed. Those moments were small, but they were everything. They were proof that I was moving forward, that I was stronger than what they'd tried to do. I also think about the people who stayed. Not everyone did. Some people believed their lies, or stayed quiet because it was easier. But the ones who stayed, the ones who saw the truth and chose to stand with me, they're my family now, whether we share blood or not. They're the ones who showed me what loyalty looks like, not in big gestures but in consistent, quiet ways. A text to check in. A coffee date to talk about nothing and everything. A hug when I didn't even know I needed one. Those are the things that rebuild you. If I could go back, I don't know if I'd change anything. Not because it didn't hurt, it did, more than I can say, but because it made me who I am now. It taught me to trust myself, to set boundaries, to choose who I let into my life. It showed me that I'm not defined by what others do to me, but by how I respond. And I chose to respond with strength, with clarity, with peace. To anyone watching who's been through something like this, I want to say this: you don't have to carry their choices. You don't have to live in their storm. You can choose to step out, to build something new, something that's yours. It won't be easy, and it won't happen overnight. There'll be days when the hurt feels fresh, when the questions come back, when you wonder if you could have done something different. But those days will get fewer, and the moments of peace will get longer. You'll find yourself smiling again, not because you've forgotten, but because you've grown. I want to share one last story. A few weeks ago, I was cleaning out some old things, papers, photos, memories. I found a picture of me, my sister, and Alex from years ago, back when things felt simpler. We were laughing, arms around each other, like nothing could break us. For a moment, I felt that old ache, that wish that things could have been different. But then I put the picture down and realized I didn't need it anymore. That moment, that version of us, it was gone, and that was okay. I wasn't that person anymore, and I didn't want to be. I was someone stronger, someone who knew their worth, someone who'd walked through fire and come out whole. My sister and Alex are still out there, living with what they did. I don't know if they'll ever admit it, if they'll ever try to make it right. And honestly, I don't need them to. Their choices are theirs to carry, not mine. I've let go of the anger, the hurt, the need for answers. I've chosen to focus on what's ahead, new opportunities, new connections, a life that feels like mine again. Thank you for being here, for listening to my story. It's a long one, I know, but I hope it resonated with someone out there. If you've been betrayed, if you're carrying the weight of someone else's choices, know that you're not alone. The truth is your power, and it will set you free. Drop a comment below, share your thoughts, your own story, or just let me know you're here. And if you want to keep exploring these kinds of journeys with me, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. Until then, keep walking your path. You're stronger than you know.